So hey everyone, I welcome you all to today's Meshery development meeting. Today is 5th June 2024, new month, and we will be discussing various agenda items that is in the meeting minutes. So before starting, let me share with you what is Meshery and what we do in this meeting. So Meshery is the CNCA project which helps you to manage your cloud native infrastructure and helps you to do multi collaboratively you can manage your infrastructure and in the different environment. There is a lot to learn about the Meshery, and I will suggest you to go to the Meshery docs, which is docs.meshery.io. And if you find any other issues and or any other questions, you can reach out to in a Slack channel or in the discuss form. So in this meeting, we mainly discuss on the agenda item which is present in this meeting minutes from various community managers, community members, maintainers, and contributors. So before starting, we have a couple of housekeeping items. One is to make sure that you add your name in the attendees list. So I'm hoping someone will share the link of the talk, or I will share the talk in the chat so that you can add your name. And the other one is we always encourage before starting the meeting, if you are new to today's meeting, we will encourage you to unmute yourself and give a small introduction. Maybe what's the name, where are you calling from and tuning from, and what you like, what's your favorite color, anything. So for me, I'm Yash, and I'm contributing here for around a year and a half, and I mainly work on the back end, front end. So that's a simple introduction of mine, and maybe you would like to also give. So, any would like to go and share about themselves? Anything? Suraj, I think you are new to today's meeting. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure, yes. So I'm Suraj Sadhav. I have 3 years of experience in front end, and from the last year, I've also started working on the back end also. So currently working as a full stack dev, and also looking forward to contributing the measuring. Yeah,
Let's
that's
go.
my
Thank you, Saurabh. So thank you, Suraj. That's a wonderful introduction. And yeah, there are a couple of issues that you can work on. There are many things that you can the part of the conversation. So I will do encourage you to be joining meeting is one of the best things like starting that you do. So Mohak, I think you are new to today's call. Would you like to introduce yourself? Just for your information, in case you are unable to unmute yourself, if you have mic issues, you can always introduce yourself in the chat. So Mohak, maybe you would like
Uh,
to.
yes, am I audible to you?
Yeah, you are audible.
Uh, hello everyone. I am Mohak Malviya, and I am a fourth year student, and I am doing machine learning from last 3 years, and from 6 months, I am trying to learn cloud native and Kubernetes. So, just this month only, I came across Meshery and Layer5.io organization. So, yeah, looking forward to contributing this.
That's good. Thank you, Mohak. Rishabh, I think I missed your that you raised your hand. So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, I had only joined this call once previously. So this is my second time. So hi, I'm Rishabh from India. I am currently a final year undergraduate student pursuing BTech in computer science and engineering. And the previous experience that I have is mostly in API development and web application development using the MERN stack. So I have some experience in React and also writing in Playwright tests, which I'm wishing to contribute currently in a issue. I'm also interested in cloud native technologies. I have some experience in Docker and a bit lesser experience in Kubernetes actually. I have been exploring these technologies for quite a few months, and I've been exploring Meshery for the last couple of weeks. Like I tried deploying applications using Istio and stuff.
Okay.
It's great.
That,
I am looking forward to contributing.
that's good. What a good time for you to join us because there's so much going around on the testing and switching from Cypress to Playwright. And I think you are already aware and part of that conversation. So that's good. What a good time to do that. So we will surely discuss if that is one of our agenda item today. So if no one is, if everyone is like aware of this meeting, so let's move forward. In case we missed you to introduce, just introduce yourself in the chat and we will interact over there. So let's move forward with the agenda items. So we have first from, I think, Deepak. Deepak, do you have any agenda items? You want to discuss on something?
No, I don't have any
Okay, thank
for
you.
now.
Mhm. Okay, so Avid, I think you can go ahead and share about your updates.
Sure, thanks. So there's this one is just a fix for the Meshery connection page. So yesterday we noticed like the Meshery connections page was crashing, and the issue was due to the configuration of Redux. So we are trying to use one of the APIs from RTK, but the Redux store was not provided. So that was causing the page to crash. So what I've done is like I didn't just fix that one page, but I enhanced the configuration of Redux toolkit, because right now we have multiple stores. One is the old Redux legacy store that we had previously, and we now are migrating to use Redux toolkit. So right now at the moment we have two stores, one the legacy one and the new Redux toolkit one. And so whenever we need to use something from one particular store, we need to provide that store globally for that component. And that's a bit tricky because sometimes we need to use state from both of these stores, and then we get into that one store, whereas the another one, and we don't have access to that thing. So that was what was causing issues here. The RTK query uses the Redux store, and it was getting overridden by the legacy store, and that was causing the page to crash. So I just enhanced the configuration. So we have both of those stores, the Redux Toolkit store and the older store, both are globally present, and we can use them from any components, and we don't need to specifically provide that store to that component. So we don't need to worry about that. There are now these custom selectors created for, or books created for the Redux Toolkit store. They are like, they have the Redux toolkit at the ending, so they can be used to access the state from Redux toolkit store, and we can use the default ones are now handling the older legacy store. So this fixes that issue and also helps us to migrate to Redux and use it properly easily. So this is like, this is not a breaking change because the default selectors will still use the legacy store, so we don't need to worry about any breaking change, and this already merged. Any questions about this?
After this change, we don't need to provide the store to every component to use the RTK, right? We can directly use the
Yeah, we
RTK now.
don't. Yeah, we can directly use RTK. It's now configured to use the particular store.
And the component that are already using the provider will not cause any issue, right? Like we
Yeah, they will
recently
still
like
work, but
were
now,
adding the providers.
yeah, they can be now removed. Like in some, like I think in the events and in a few components, we have that extra provider. We can that remove, like that's now useless. But like one thing is to be keep in mind, like we need to replace the selectors with the RTK selectors. So these new hooks. Other than that, yeah, these hooks. Other than that, there's nothing else.
Thank you. Is there any other item that you want to share?
Yeah, another small update is like, I think from since previous week we are moving some of the stuff in Meshery to state machines, because state machine, like we already know, like state machines help us with controlling the behavior of our workflows easily, rather than having them imperative using like a bunch of Boolean conditions. So the state machines help with orchestrating that flow. So we're moving a bunch of things to state machines. Like we already migrated the whole validation flow and the deployment flow to state machines, which we can now use from the when we deploy or validate a design. So those now utilize the state machines. And in another PR, I also migrated the event flow. So whenever we get those server sent events, we need to keep the subscription to a GraphQL connection. So all of that is now also managed through a new state machine that's, I think, called the operation center state machine. So that controls that. It helps in, like, if some other component needs to listen to a particular event from backend, now we can do that because we just need to listen to that state machine, and we can now listen to backend actors and have more event-driven flow while we need to use the events from backend, not just the UI events, and that helps to manage the overall flow with that. And other than that, I'm also, like, in Systent, I'm moving all of those reusable machines are now moved to Systent, and we can just reuse from there. Like, there are a bunch of state machine utils, like, around the framework we use, and also, like, some of the reusable state machines, like the worker machines and the data validators, like, all of those are now in Systent, so we can directly use it from there. Here in Systent. They are like machines for a bunch of stuff. So these are all of our reusable machines and can be directly imported.
Thank you.
Any
Is there any
questions?
question? Yeah.
Yeah, Abid, could you give an example of one of the reusable machines? Like which ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the reusable machines here is the data validator machine. So we already use it in a bunch of places in Meshery, like all of the validators, like the component validator, the design validator, and the dry run validator, all of those use this one machine. That's the data validator. They just use it as the blueprint. So this is right now here, and this is already used throughout Meshery.
Nice. It's a good example. Okay, that makes sense. Do the machine. Yeah, I wonder if some of the machines that are insistent, if they in any way help facilitate a consistent set of events, particularly the user-facing events. Do they, or like sometimes we don't message the user enough, and sometimes we maybe over message the user. But maybe these don't.
Right now the machines in System, like, these don't do that, but there can be created some machine, like, especially actually, like, one machine that create is, like, basically the notification daemon. So that would manage everything, like the eventing on UI. So right now we sometimes use the React hooks, and whenever we are outside of React, so like some parts of the code that are not React component, we end up just creating the snack bars that we end up having, like, sometimes the event is coming from backend and we also emit it from UI, so we get like some redundant events and everything. So that would help that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. That's mostly from my side.
Thank you, Amit. Okay, so next is from Christopher. Christopher, would you like to share about when mouse moves leaves on the star or menu area, menu should be closed? Is this a issue or a PR?
It's a PR.
You can share his screen.
See my screen?
Yes.
All right. The issue I was working on is we had a bit of a, should I call it a bug or just a misfunctionality, where if you hover over the profile image of the profile image in Meshery, the popover does not ideally go away when you remove the hover, when the mouse moves out of that area. So I came up with a fix. ideally I made a video out of it on how it should work and how it works. So ideally when you move out or when you scroll over and finish everything and then you literally go away, it ideally the popper also moves away. So how I basically achieved that basically I used a timeout. I had a bit of a added a timeout, and then I also went and wrapped the popper element in a div, which could listen to the mouse to the mouse on mouse leaf attribute. However, I got some feedback from Abid. But then I just wanted to probably ask if maybe you could just point me to the exact attribute in Popper that actually supports this kind of behavior. Because you saying this kind of seems a bit ambiguous, like I don't know where to go next, because I tried actually going through the whole documentation, and it's kind of not clear, because even if it was clear, probably this particular attribute should have been working, but I don't think it responds as it should.
Yeah, actually, I don't remember that attribute that should, or if proper really does it, but like the way like we are doing it, like this should fix it, like the timeouts and having a bunch of effects, but like it's not usable, and with timeouts we usually get into trouble. So that's why I just like if there is an attribute with popper, then we should go with that, and if there is not, then we also use another library that's called TP, and we can use that here. That's also good for tooltips, and that already has that behavior. So whenever you mouse leave, it already manages a timeout internally, so it doesn't abruptly get hidden, but like it does all of that internally and a few more stuff. So we might just migrate to that rather than implementing it ourselves here.
All right. All right. So that's it. Then maybe if you could maybe just point me to that library
Yeah.
where I can actually get I can probably read about it and come up with a better fix.
Yeah, sure. And like I think we already used it.
I think Abid is
And I
getting
think
cut off.
okay.
What he was trying to say is that I think we are already using the TP in our Meshery UI, so you can look for that. And if you have any, like, if you need that redaction, you can ask him in the Slack so that he can give you the redaction
Come again?
for the TP library.
Okay.
Christopher, is there any other item that you want to share?
That's it.
Thank you, Christopher. Let's move to the next item. Matthew, would you like to share your item?
Yep. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you. You can share your screen.
Okay, so should be okay. So yes, I just passed that pull request yesterday after a call to promote the Meshery CTL model subcommand. So if someone can check to review this. Also, I got your point about documentation, Lee. So I'm going to check how it is done instead of push it manually like I did here. And that's it.
Nice. Yeah. So we have to recap, we have a couple of relatively new Meshery CTL commands that are, well, they've been baking for a little while. Maybe it's time to come out of the experimental oven. If you've used Meshery CTL before, you might have noticed this EXP area that Matthew's talking about right now. So we sometimes this EXP standing for experimental. I don't know why it took me that long to think of that word for experimental. And so Matthew is promoting some of those fully baked commands out of there. As he does, the way that Meshery CTL and the commands themselves are documented is, well, semi-automated. And I guess the only way to maybe put this is that I hope that the Meshery CTL contributing guide helps clarify, because there's a couple of points of like, it's not fully automated, which is a bit frustrating for me because it could be fully automated. And I won't harangue everyone by going into details, but Matthew, as you dig in, you'll sort of note where it is that there's some manual work and where it is that part of the automation helps generate the rest of the reference. Just for everyone's understanding, as you peruse, like this is a great example right here, I believe. Are those screenshots, Yash, on the page, or are those? Okay.
Yeah, these are the screenshots.
Okay, good. This makes for a good example. In general, I would say that's bad, like bad that we're taking pictures of text to show people on a text-based, over here, because it's easier to control, the zoom levels and everything, the syntax highlighting, etc. But this makes for a great example of how the Meshery CTL command line reference, this page and many like it, are auto-documented, and at the same time, they are, if you have additional examples or just additional context to add, there may be any number of commands like Meshery CTL system start. Like what kind of system are you start? Or there's all kinds of options here. Some of them are covered in like the help text. When you're running the command, it may give you a few example usages, but that probably doesn't cover the myriad number of ways in which you can use that particular command. And there might be a lot of additional context that can be helpful to people as they get started and so on. And so sometimes it's quite nice to be able to go in and for a specific command, manually add some additional, well, in this case, additional examples. So this is great. Some additional information about the underlying behavior of like what happens when you use the platform string or what have you. Like that's super helpful. But wait, if these pages are auto-generated and someone comes in and manually adds some enhanced information, like wouldn't that be overwritten? And that used to be the case. We used to have a lot of accidental loss of additional info. As you read through and by the way, since you're here, do you mind navigating to the contributing guides? The Meshery CTL contributing guide should do a better job of describing the two things that I'm trying to describe. I'm trying to describe that like there's a decent portion of Meshery CLI's documentation that is auto-generated. It needs a little bit of prompting in a YAML file to outline. It needs an outline of what each of the command names are. And based on that YAML file, it then goes off and generates pages, one for each of the commands and subcommands and all that. And in order to prevent an overwriting of some additional info that people might have manually added, there's consideration for that. This page has instructions on how to denote, how to mark your manually added content as special, as like, hey, don't override this, leave it in place. That's on this page as well. So fair enough for Matthew as he goes through this, that like there's a little bit to it, or like there's a little bit to, digest. There, eventually, this is, Matthew, it's sort of an outstanding challenge that I was describing, that if you're making, so I'll make an analogy. If you, as a contributor, if any of you come to update Meshery's documentation, wonderful, please do. Use good English if you do, or open up your grammar books. And when you do, if the page that if you've created a new page on the left-hand side, in order for your new page to show up, that table of contents, that list, it's manually curated. So the Jekyll theme that we're using doesn't automatically, detect if there's a new page and add it over there. It could have, this one doesn't. In the same way, if a new Meshery CLI command is added, that auto-generated documentation, that process does not detect if there is a new command added. And to my dismay, part of the process of contributing currently is to go over to a data file, this YAML file that lists out, fairly concisely, just lists out each Meshery command name and the subcommand. And I think it even includes maybe the parameters, the flags. And to me, it's like, that's a shortcoming of like we've only automated so far. And so there's just an outstanding challenge there for whomever at some point to potentially. Yep. So yeah, thanks for that time check. Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so is there any other question for Matthew?
Not
So-
really a question for me, but I'm in the Meshery CTL for a couple of weeks now, and it looks to me that the behavior, it's not the same in each command. For example, when you do Meshery patterns and Meshery system without any flags, it looked like to me it's not the same output. I just wondering if we have planned to make it consistent all over every command, because sometimes it's look weird, because for one command you have to add the -- help, for some not, etc. It's just a little comment on this.
Yeah, I think that's a good discussion that we should go forward with, and I will suggest you to open a discussion forum post on that so that other maintainers for the Meshery CTLs can help you and make you forward with that conversation. So
But
let's
yeah,
move forward.
Yeah, so really quick, just in short, yes, please, resoundingly, yes, Matthew, do it. Even if, like, do it. There's some guidance about UX specifically for Meshery CLI and how we would, what guiding principles we use to sort of ask ourselves, is this the right UX? I'll say this, please go do it, even if you were to maybe make a poor choice and say, well, hey, this should be the UX, and it's not as nice as it might otherwise be. Even if you were to do that and propagate that not so great UX across all the, even if you were to do it and make it consistent, it would still be better than where we are, just by virtue of the fact that it is a consistent poor response is better than inconsistent, sometimes good, sometimes bad. It would be higher quality if it was just all bad responses. Like, I know that sounds weird, but like, so please do it. Please be tenacious. Please make it happen. Like, we just, we may have to send you a small gift in the mail or something if you do that. Like it's just been one of those things that we haven't been able to. That's what that's the kind of thing that maintainers are made of. That's the kind of thing that a maintainer does. That they look beyond just the myopically looking at that one PR and making sure that that works, but maybe it doesn't work consistently across the rest. Yeah, you're hitting it on the head, Matthew, please. Thanks, Yash, for letting me interrupt.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Let's move forward with the next agenda item. Shlok, would you like to share out your updates on bug fix and some meshkit errors?
Yeah, sure. Uh, yeah. So we were having an error regarding the meshkit, regarding the registry logs we were generating. So we were unable to see so the current model and the extracted model were were not listed properly. So here you can see the current model is for AI scaler and extracted model would not be for AI scaler. So I went ahead and fixed that. So the logs are now consistent and we'll see the correct way that model should be logged. Yeah, this is this issue. I'll move to the next one. So the next issue was regarding the unmarshal errors. So we were not logging them properly. And here is the before and here's the after. So now we specify which model name the error was coming from, and the error was in the Helm chart of that model and where at which positions the error were. So yeah. And regarding these are the two log fixes. Any questions?
Yeah, in this second PR, will you ensure like you have some one kind of like string manipulation? So I think that would be required, but it would be good if you write a comment, a small logic or comment around like why this is required, so that the logic is clear.
Okay,
Otherwise, in future when someone comes, it will be difficult to understand.
sure. I'll expand this comment to make more sense.
Okay. Yes.
Which file though? It's the YAML file that is of CNO agent that has the issue.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. I'm aware of that. What I mean to say is, okay, great. Yep, it's that YAML file. So which one is that, Schlock? Okay, that's my point.
I'll add that.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
And the docs update regarding the dependency Helm chart. So I went ahead and changed the language so it makes more sense and it's not that typical that we were going round and round in the circle before, and now it's quite simple. So
instead of like in this question that you have, like how does Meshery determine where to get the chart instead of make it like where to get the dependency, because it is not always that a chart would be applied. Or
dependency for prevention components.
Did you also added that thing like if an release already exists or a dependency is already installed, you can have an option inside deployment wizard that you can configure like whether to upgrade that dependency or stay with the current version of the dependency.
You are talking about the checkbox that the user gets?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Thanks.
here it is, this part of the docs.
Okay.
Any questions? So that was the update from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Shlok. If there is any question for Shlok, you can put that in the chat. I think Rutraksh, you are next, so maybe you would like to go.
Yeah, sure. Just a second, sharing my screen. Yeah. So this is our mesh map designer. Currently, we provide 4 options here that are model-based actions that allow you to validate, dry run, deploy, and
undeploy. So there are on that actions. So Rudraksh will interrupt me when he comes back, but on that actions button, when you click to perform one of those 4 actions, Right now, currently, if you click one, you will, a small window will pop up, a small modal will pop up, and it'll kind of either have perform the action and show you the results, or it will let you perform the action with, and you'll have this modal based or this pop-up based interaction. Sometimes though, as a user, you don't really want that window. Like you're really familiar with what's going on, and you just want the action performed, and sort of irrespective of the outcome, you don't care. You just want a single click action. You just want to make it happen and not go through some modal based, some window based interaction. So when Rudraksh comes back, he'll likely, where he has clicked on the UI here, he clicked on the word actions, and it drops down and it shows each of the 4 with a label, validate, dry run. He has made an enhancement that on the right, yeah. And so if any of these are clicked, you'll get a modal that pops up. When you just want to invoke the action and forego having to step through this modal, the change that he's making is that if you click the drop-down arrow on the right-hand side of that button, you'll just see 4 icons, 1 for each action. You click it and they invoke. It's just a single click thing. So any questions about that? Or comments? What's
Okay,
that?
so yes.
Yeah, that's right. You're right that like maybe you click to undeploy or deploy and it doesn't work. Like so you'd probably want to know why it didn't work. Well, that's what the notification center is for, that bell in the upper right-hand corner. The results of the action that you invoked with a single click, those results will return here. Unless it's the validation action, which I think is a point of discussion maybe for, Rudraksh is not back. So it is a point of discussion though, I think, for a couple
it's
of
just the
them.
validation, all of the actions.
Okay, so thank you. If there is any question for
Yeah, there is. So Abid, can you please say that again? I didn't get to hear that.
Yeah, just clarifying it, yeah. For all of the actions except validation, there would be an event would come from the server, and we were just discussing like whenever we do the validation on client, we'd send it to the events, post it to the event, and it will events API, and we'd get an event back. But that's like not implemented yet in backend, but that can be done, and we'd have the notification center event for validation. So
Yeah, one thing that's a point of confusion, I think, for me on that. But by the way, for everybody that's listening,
yeah,
of the 4 actions, all 3 of them will produce an event, a response saying here was the outcome of the action. The first one, that validate action, it actually runs client side, and it takes your design, compares your design against each of the schemas for each of the components, and verifies that everything looks kosher so far. Well, the outcome of that, so since that runs client side, the outcome of that is available here in the UI. But if you're collaborating with someone else, because since it's a multiplayer tool, or if you have a different browser open, or if you just wanted to have a history of how validation was occurring over time, you wanted to refer to those events, or maybe even if it's not really over time, it's just like here in this moment, you ran validation, you see that there's 12 errors, great, you want to go address them. And so you close the modal, that window, you start to fix a few, you wonder if you fixed them all, but before running validation again, maybe you just want to refer back to what those 12 were so you can work through all of them before revalidating. But anyway, the point is you'd want for the server to have that event and store it. The point of so
Yeah.
that makes point of confusion for me is that the Meshery server has an API, a REST API, to be able to post events that would show up in the notification center. Great. In my mind, that's a
I think right now the post is not supported. Like the API only supports get and only get operations. We can't post to it, and that's the only thing that needs to be implemented.
or is this a difference between REST and GraphQL? Because Uzair,
No.
Actually,
I think the
because
REST
these,
doesn't support it.
yeah, and neither GraphQL, because these events are like always emitted from server. Like currently, it was the case, and server returns those events. So like there was no requirement for like post. It was just that get the event and update the status. So there is like no mutation or post events. But yeah,
oh wow,
it will require me.
oh wow, okay, yeah, that's actually, I'm surprised that this hasn't come to head previously, and maybe that's why I don't see a number of events that I think that I should see. Because yeah, so you're saying it's the notification center has only been available via function call, not API. Who's
Now,
that?
like all of the events in the notification center are coming from API. So all of those are persisted events, and the events that we emit from the UI right now, the snack bar message, and those are just UI and UI side, and we don't push them to the server right now. So for these kinds of events, like the validation event, we would just post it back to that events API when it's available, and then we'd get it again from the GraphQL back as an event, and we'll show it inside the notification center.
Yep. Yeah, I'm daft this morning. So I still don't get it. It's like, wait, does Meshery's APIs, Meshery servers APIs, support a client posting an event to the notification center
No.
or submitting one over GraphQL? No.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's weird. That seems like a miss. So back to my other statement is my other question, clarification is, so the ability to put an entry into the notification center currently, to date, and currently is only available via function call from
Yes.
Golang. Golang to Golang function call, not exposed anywhere else. Okay. Yeah. It seems like does everyone agree that that's a good enhancement to have?
Yes, that's like required, and yeah, because like UI can also generate events, so user might need to like have a track record of like what went wrong, and yeah, that would be helpful.
It will also enhance developer experience, like the task that I was currently working on needed the notification center. So, yeah. I apologize for the connection loss there. I hope it didn't hinder the discussion.
I think we discuss your part.
We imagined it a bit.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, so Rudraksh, is there any other item that you want to share, or
No, not right now. Thank you.
okay? Thank you, Imran. If there is any question for Rudraksh, you can put that in the chat. Tarun, would you like to go and share about your responsiveness in the Meshery? And question with it, is it done?
Okay, so let me share this. Okay, so the issue is the responsiveness for the Meshery UI. So after the last meeting, we had some discussions about padding and modal issues, which can be, which should be resolved by now. This is the demo. So last time they Okay. Okay. So this stepper had a cutoff issue last time. This should
Yeah, but
be
wait, but Tarun,
okay.
can you go squish it all the way down if you would? You're at 660 pixels wide, right?
Yeah.
Can you go to 375 if you would? Ish, or 374 even. Something less than 370. There you go.
Yeah, the header has an issue because it was
Yep.
Akshay has been working on the header, so it needs uh, changes. But the model should be working fine even at 370.
Well, kind of. I mean, it's a bit tight. It's kind of hard to
You
read.
can remove paddings from its sides too.
Yeah.
Just like wherever you see extra padding, I'd suggest remove it because on mobile devices, screen real estate is very important.
Yeah.
So I'd suggest you to do that.
Those are the updates, and the configurator also had this bar had an issue before it was squishy, so I need to add some paddings, and this should be workable. And the loading image also had a change. So these are the updates from last day.
Are you able to
And
go to the dashboard real fast?
okay, so the padding I didn't completely remove it. I made it like 16 pixel right now, like 1 rem. So it's still smaller than before.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
if you go back to the mobile view, which is the only view that we're concerned with, I think, in this discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go, you're so close. There you go. If you go to any of the Kubernetes pages.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And if you click on one of those, if you don't mind, if you drill in.
Okay.
To any one of the table records.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Good.
No names or having an like visibility issues. Issues may be like some small models could cause issues because of changes.
So yeah, please, if you can, I know it's a little difficult, but if you go to back to one, on this table here, click that first row, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Needs okay.
All righty. Are we more or less relying on MUI and its framework for sizing? Or are we?
Yeah, we're trying to mostly use the tables size default sizes.
Okay, not tables. I mean, sure, tables is one concern, but I mean, overall, are we maybe I'll say this. Hey, I think that media queries get us in trouble. In general, I think people over optimize and curate for a specific set of information on a page. And as that page changes over time, it's often overlooked.
Yeah.
The responsive concern is overlooked. And so media queries get out of date. It'd be great if we were to elevate and move beyond those. One way of kind of elevating is to attempt to only use MUIs or material UIs.
Breakpoints.
Yeah.
Breakpoint media queries, yes.
Yeah. Even at that, I would submit to you all that the media queries are really something of a crutch, that they're not truly responsive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what can we do? Just use MUI's framework and don't insert any of our own and sort of rely on that? Or any other thoughts, Abid?
we can rely
Like,
on system. We can make it
I think
responsive in system itself or some big idea.
I feel like we should leverage what MUI gives, but also like have most of our already the design constructs that make all of them responsive. So when we build using them, the end product is also kind of responsive. But I don't know, like at some point, like we end up using like the even if we use MUI's breakpoints, like they're in technical terms are like they're more similar to just media queries. Like it's kind of the same
Yeah.
thing. So even if go any path, like it's we would get the same problems there if we use them more.
So Root has a good idea, one good idea. There are a few other, I don't know, like secondary school, if you will, or non-elementary CSS things that we can be doing. I would submit to you all that breakpoints and media queries for responsiveness is kind of like using crayons to draw a fine piece of art, and it just ain't gonna, it's just not gonna work over the long term. And we're definitely seeing that here. I would love to be proven wrong. Please, please, please prove me wrong. I suspect that the overwhelming majority of us, name all of us on this call, don't, our CSS foo isn't to the point that that we would be able to write something that's truly responsive. So that's a challenge. So prove me wrong, somebody, please. Yeah. Anyway, Tarun, thanks for this. You got some work to finish up. Hopefully you're going to do that post haste, super quick.
Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you, Tarun. Let's move forward to the next agenda item, and as Sangram is not here, and Dan and Mario, let's move forward with the Saurabh. So Saurabh, would you like to share about the removal of onboard command?
Sure. Yes. Thank you. Well, let me share my screen if I can. Yes, I'm sharing this one. Yeah, is regarding this Meshery CTL pattern on board sub command, which has to be removed because it was technically command of pattern. So it has been in the middle of work, and as you can see, I have posted the scenarios, and as sir has asked, and to be very frank, up to now, I'm not to apply the pattern command through different sub command apply. Even to counterpart it, I have applied the pattern through using the UI as also states a clip to that. And after applying that pattern, I'm not able to delete it. So I was with the to remove the offboard command because also the same as the delete command. So this is the status. And to
Saurabh, sorry for interrupting. I think okay, so we lost him. So I think let me check my screen. We can come back to his item later if anybody would like to go with his item. Otherwise, we will come back. Okay.
I think I just lost. Yes, I'm back.
Your voice is getting cut off. So
Yes, actually, my connection is unstable. I got the notification. Yeah.
would you like to go again or?
Yes, sure. Yes, could you open my PR? Well, let me start it again. For the context, the onboard command needs to be removed as it has the same technicality feature with the apply subcommand of the pattern.
and it has been in the middle of work because the I'm not able to apply the pattern through using Meshery CTL, but to counterpart it, I'm able to apply using the Meshery UI. And I have posted one of the clip at the very down section of the PR, and I propose one of the that maybe we can remove the offboard command because it has the same functionality as of the delete command. So that's the context. I think my connection is again unstable.
Yes, like
You properly.
yes, you are audible. So you are proposing to remove the onboard and offboard and replace with apply and delete. So yeah, we have been discussing around it, and yes, it
Yes.
sounds good. But what are the issues like in inside pattern apply and delete itself? I think previously when we discussed, they were like failing and they were like not as counterpart to Meshery UI. Like all of the tests were like whether applying through URL or uh, whether you are passing a local reference, all were not passing. So would you like to share like at which point you are stuck and you are not able to proceed ahead so that one of the community member can help you to get this PR merged, because like, it is one of the essential commands.
Sure. Well, taking the leverage of the log command, I was able to find that it is not able to find the current context of the the cluster which has to be responsible to apply that pattern. And through the monitoring the through the browser based through UI, I'm to see that is passing the connection ID, which is responsible for making the changes pattern. And I think the cluster is not able to cluster for it. And to be figure how I can use that cluster through the param of the request. And it has it might as of now it might be that in the design engine design which is the handler responsible for making that request to the server. So the issue might be over there.
Yeah, so we some time ago we replaced like all of the context with connection, because now Kubernetes contexts are treated as like connections. So in UI, like we updated UI client to like use connection IDs everywhere, but Meshery CTL is left, I think, and that's the point I think you are facing issues. So there is no change required in design engine or pattern engine or any of the handlers inside server. It is just that Meshery CTL needs to pass on connection IDs or connection instead of context ID. So that should resolve your issues.
Sure. Let me. I'll dig into it more as it might be going out of my brain as of now. Well,
Okay.
I'll look into it. How the thing I can manipulate it to get that issue resolved.
Thank you, Zora. Is there any other item that you want to share?
No, thank you.
Okay, so thank you everyone for talking about the agenda items. We are on time, so I will wait for 5 more seconds. And if there is any urgent or any high on high, sorry about that. So, is there any agenda item that you want to discuss, or is there any agenda item which is urgent we should discuss? Okay.
While testing, actually, I was facing some problems in some features on my local instance. So could I like receive some help regarding that? I posted one of them in the discuss forum.
Yeah, do make sure that if you have created and discussed forum, other community members will make sure that they will get answer. Also, I will suggest to search on that too. After creating it, it's important that you also search because there are many posts already created.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Rashad, you got a link? If we don't get to it on this
Yeah.
call, maybe just drop a link next in Slack next to the this meeting's discussion. So you can take a look. Yeah. Great. I mean, we don't have to cover it right now, but
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I'm just checking if we have Mystery Build and release meeting tomorrow or not. So we do have a newcomers meeting tomorrow. I will suggest if you are new to layer 5 and Mystery, it's a great meeting for you to join because maintainers and benchmates and other community members, you will get chance to connect with them, which I think is a great way to get started in the community. So I think, yeah, we do have a newcomers meeting, but not the build and release meeting. We have that in the next week. So we do have a CNCF Tech Network meeting. So if you are interested, you can check that out. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We do missed a couple of agenda items and we will make sure to cover them next week, same time in the same meeting. So thank you everyone for joining us. Bye.
thanks, Josh. Bye. See ya.